But yeah, I put out the short of the ear question. Joe Rogan almost sounding a little skeptical, asking Donald Trump about his little nicked ear.
Do you even have a scar on your ear? You got anything on there?
I do.
What do we say? What do you got
so, right over here.
Oh, it's a tiny little
See,
mark.
It zicked right there.
Yeah. But it healed up pretty fucking good.
Well, it's pretty good. Yeah, it's little. It's not like some of the wrestlers, some of the UFC fighters.
No, you didn't get cauliflower.
No. It was sort of like a top shot.
Mm-hmm.
The point of the bullet was a little of the ass, but you see the thing's taken off a little bit, but it makes me a tougher guy. You know the fighters. The fighters love their. Bo Nickel. He's a great fighter.
Yeah, I love Bo Nickel.
How's he going to do? I think he's terrific.
He's great.
And then of course I followed up with this Herrera guy who has a channel on YouTube who's a big gun buff, and he actually recreated the exact same gun. AR style weapon with a gelatinous target, and man, it sure looked like that bullet should have done a hell of a lot more damage to his ear than a little tiny bug bite, right? Which healed up in a week, literally, just like nothing was there. And so yeah, it's I still question the whole assassination attempt. These people that just have this blind faith in the narrative these days, like the government could never stage something. The government never lies to us, right, guys? Right? I mean, if the government can stage 9/11, the government can stage a fake assassination attempt. And yes, they don't give a damn if a couple people get killed in the process. The other question I thought was interesting was the JFK Files, which, you guys get a little Starlink on the top of his car. The JFK Files that Rogan actually, to his credit, at least he brought up the topic to Trump. But his follow-ups, he had absolutely nada, zero follow-up questions to Trump's long drawn-out string of repetitive answers. Like, don't worry, Joe. Just trust me, Joe. These guys are the guys that told me that I shouldn't release the files. They know what's better for the American people.
One of the things that I wanted to talk to you about is the JFK Files. One of the things that you said was that if they showed you what they showed me, this was your quote, you wouldn't want people to know it either.
So I opened them up partially. I was met from good people. Good people. People that were well-meaning. Mike Pompeo was one of them. He's a good person. They called me. They said, "Sir, would rather have you not." And I did open them. But I was asked by some people not to open them. There's a Martin Luther King file, too, by the way, that they'd like to see. I don't know if you know, but there is that. But JFK in particular. So they called me, a lot of good people called me, people that that you would find reasonable people. And they asked me not to do it. So I said, well, we'll close it for another time. But if I win, I'm going to open them up. I'm just going to open enough time.
Why didn't you open it up the first time?
Because a lot of times,
what was the hesitation, though?
Addresses, people that are still living. There are people that are affected, and there could be some national security reason that I don't have to necessarily know about. But some very good, talented people asked me not to do it. I opened it up, and then they said, "Would it be possible for us to do that a different day?"
How much of it did you read into?
I think it's going to be just fine to open it. Let me put it that way. I think it's fine. It's going to be time. It's a cleansing. It's really a cleansing. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it immediately, almost immediately upon entering office.
Well, the thing, when people look at it from the outside and you sort of imagine what could be a reason why they would not release those files, it would be there's people that were implicated in the assassination.
Yeah. Well, when there are living people, you generally tend not to want to do it. When people are still living,
Living people that formerly worked for the government.
For the government, and living people that were somehow involved in it, and you tend not to do that. But it's time to open them. I can't tell you whether or not they're going to find anything of interest. And I did partially open. I think I've opened 50%, but I was asked not to do it, and I thought that was a reasonable ask. But now I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it very soon.
After 5+ decades of this information being completely covered up by the unconstitutional, criminal, counterfeit branches of spook agencies that have completely taken over our government, like the CIA, FBI. For some reason, according to Trump, is apparently just there to gatekeep for the deep state, despite all the other talk and bravado. This special club of people, including who he called a good man, Mike Pompeo, who was plotting to assassinate Julian Assange. That's how good of guy Mike Pompeo is. He's head of the CIA. This little core group of people told him, "Not yet, Donald, not yet. Let's just hold off. Let's just hold off, Donald. Just a little while longer. There's still a few criminals that in some way could be associated with this inside job assassination on a former elected president." So, over and above the will of the people, the best interest of the American people to know what happened that day in Dallas 5+ decades ago, we need to keep safe these criminal elements that are still in our government that might in some way be associated to this assassination attempt. It's a perfectly reasonable explanation to me, right, guys? What about you? I mean, Joe seemed to think so, because he didn't really once again, he didn't really hold his feet to the fire on that one, but he was brave enough to ask the question, I guess. Score 1 for Joe.